Thomas here and welcome back to another video. So today we're back here for another speed build, and today we're going to go ahead and create this simple family suburban home. So if you'd like to go ahead and download this for yourself, it is up in the gallery now. My origin ID is real Thomas CV1, and I'll also go ahead and put a link in the description to the online gallery if it's an easier way for you to download things that way. So like I said, this is a simple family suburban home. It has 5 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms, and I built it here on a 40 by 30 lot in Willow Creek. And I'm really actually happy how this one turned out. As the name says, it is very simple, but that isn't actually too out of the ordinary from one of my normal builds though, because I don't really do a lot of clutter in my builds. I keep things nice and easy for you to just play in and fit any type of family into one of my builds, so I don't really do personalised things that often, so you know, this build even more so for that reason. And also as well, when I'm playing myself, if I download a house off the gallery, I always find myself taking out things that make the gameplay just a little more difficult. Like sometimes if there's a lot of paintings and just clutter and stuff, sometimes when you have the walls down, you can see the back of those items, if that makes sense. So sometimes when I'm playing myself, which to be honest doesn't happen that often, I will, before I start playing, just go in and take out all those little bits and pieces. So if you're one of those people, then you know this house might be for you. So we're just working on the exterior here. Now this build, I can't really remember how long it took me. I built this on the 30th of April, which was yesterday. Now, today's the 1st of May. I don't know when this video is going up though, because I do have a collab coming up, and also a few other things going on too, so I'm just sort of getting a few videos done, so I'm not too sure when this is going up. But in total, I think this build took me about an hour, well, probably just over an hour actually. I can't really remember, but I did actually leave a lot of the footage in, I've noticed, from what I normally do, because sometimes I'm a little bit picky with what I include in the speed build, just to kind of keep things on the shorter side. But this one's actually over 15 minutes, which is a long time for a home like this. This is actually the length of kind of a build I aim for the speed build at least, when I'm doing a mansion build. So this, you know, speed build video is a little bit longer than usual, but you know what, there's nothing wrong with that. Some people like to see a little bit more, some people like shorter videos, so I suppose I'm kind of just compromising there a little bit. So we're just going around now trying to decide on what I was going to do for the exterior in terms of wall coverings. I wasn't really too sure when I went into this. I just didn't even know what to do. Again, I always put lots of windows in my builds, so that was, you know, as you can see here. But I knew for the colour scheme I wanted to do something just white, because I always kind of I try to include colour, you know, here and there sometimes, and sometimes I'll do just creamy walls, but I never really do white. So I just wanted to kind of do that on the exterior. So I went with some white panelling from cats and dogs at first, but then I actually changed it to, what was it? I think some of the panelling from Spa Day later on. I can't actually remember actually, but you'll see it as we go on how that changes. And then in the backyard area, it is pretty spacious. There's a big pool area. There's also a little gazebo area, which is a little bit different than usual, because I normally do like an octagonal room is the gazebo, but it's actually sort of like a more rectangle one. It's a little bit bigger as well. It has a few more things in there. And there's also a sort of like a little greenhouse, but it's not actually a room. It's one of those little what do you call them? Those little structures from Get Together with the glass roofs on them. Not an actual glass roof, but you know what I mean. You'll see that a little bit later though in the backyard area. And then, you know, just some random outdoor seating and stuff. And then for the landscape, and I went for like a purple colour scheme, I think, if I can remember correctly, just to kind of switch it up a little bit from all the white on the exterior, just have a little bit of colour there. And then on the in the interior, there's kind of a big sort of living room, which is actually divided into 2 little areas. So you can see that little sunroom thing I put on the front there, and there's the bigger one at the back. Well, that bigger one actually changed into a secondary sort of little living room area. It's kind of hard to explain, but you'll see it in a second once I get onto the interior. So I made the mistake as well in this build of the train paint disappearing. Now I know, like, sometimes I just know it's going to happen, so I did this over 2 days I think. I started it on the night time one day, and then I came back the next morning to finish it off. So when I was doing the train paint, and you probably heard me say this before, and you might have even had this problem as well yourself, but if sometimes what can happen is if you go out of, you know, your game, like close it, or even just go into manage world, sometimes when you load back up the lot, all the train paint is gone, and it's so frustrating because this has been happening for such a long time now, and there's been various patch updates since this issue started happening, and I know a lot of people have been affected by it, but we've still got no fix for it, which is really frustrating. So I hope that happens soon. But really what I do is, when I going to come back like a little bit later on, I'll actually just save the build to my library, and then if it does disappear, then I can just load up the build back again, if that makes sense. So sometimes I do that, but I actually forgot to do it this build, and I regretted doing that because I did actually get hit by this problem today. So you know, it's really frustrating, but I hope it'll get fixed at some point. So you can see the gazebo area there, how it is slightly different than normal. Not really that much different though, just in terms of its shape. And we're just doing a little bit of train paint here, nothing too exciting. So I know I have mentioned in the last couple of builds that I have been kind of ill with a cold recently, but I think it's actually pretty much gone now. I do still have like a bit of a blocked nose sort of, which kind of always happens after a cold. It still lasts for a little while longer that. But my sore throat and everything's gone, which is great because in last week's, well, it might not be last week's by the time this video goes up, but the Willow Creek Village build, I remember during that I had to keep stopping the voiceover like every minute or so to take a sip of water because it was just getting really horrible in my throat. But I'm glad it's all better because it's horrible having a sore throat. Anyway, so we're just working a little bit on the landscaping now. So as you can see there, I was trying to put a sort of water fountain in. Now I've seen actually my friend Sim Kim do that quite a lot in her builds, where she does those very thin like 1x1 tile, well not 1x1 but like 1 width tile fountains against the windows, and I always thought it looked really nice, but I've never really done it before for some reason. So oh actually, well, the 1 million mansion build I did last week or the week before, I did actually do that in the backyard area, but apart from that I don't really do that often for some reason. So I just wanted to try it out and see what it looked like, but it wasn't really working out, so I just went ahead and took that out. So now working on the interior, as you can see. Now the garage area, this is actually the garage here, which we kind of converted into the kitchen. Now sometimes I do this where the garage is actually part of the house because it's sometimes a little bit awkward to make like an actual full garage inside the home, if that makes sense, for like space wise. So I kind of, as you can see there, there's the garage doors. I was trying to divide that room off because I thought it looked a little bit odd, but actually I thought it looked alright in the end, because I'm kind of maybe thinking that the people who bought this home has maybe renovated it, because you know, some people in real life do renovate their garages into an actual room, so maybe they've done that and extended the kitchen out a little bit to make this big dining room. So since it is pretty big, I did go ahead and put a bar area there, which I tend to do a lot of my builds actually, and also a big dining table there in the middle. Now, normally what I do is if the garage is going to be separate from the house, which is normally in bigger builds like mansions and stuff I do that in, I do go ahead and change the garage into a gym, but since I can't really do that, since it's the dining room here, behind the kitchen there, you can see that room there, just there with the grey walls, that's what I go ahead and make the gym. So there's a little gym area in the house as well, since I don't really do gym rooms inside the house that often, I thought I'd go ahead and switch it up, since I did have a little bit of extra space when I was doing the floor plan. I wasn't really sure what to do with it, so I just went ahead and made it into a little gym room. So we're just working on one of the bedrooms here. I don't think I haven't finished with the downstairs area, but just like normal, just switch things up. We're just working on random parts of the builds as we go on. And the floor plan in this build wasn't too difficult to do actually. I always have a few problems of making like the upstairs hallway area, because sometimes I find it a little bit difficult to get like a good space in the middle. It always turns out to be a little bit of an awkward space, but that's sometimes what I have a lot of problems with, but apart from that, it was fairly easy to do. I've had a few questions recently about floor planning and if I'll do a tutorial on it, and I don't think I will actually, because sometimes I'm not the best at explaining things, and floor planning is just one of those things where it varies so much from build to build. Sometimes, you know, it'll just come around easily without even thinking about it. Like, I think, well, it might not have been this build, but one before it, it literally just took me about 3 minutes to do the floor plan. But then sometimes mansion builds at least, it can take me like, you know, a good 10 minutes or so to do it, just depending on how complex the shape of the walls are, how many bedrooms I want, is there any sort of requirements for the build that I need to try and fit in somewhere. So all those kind of play a part, which means it makes it different from build to build. So I find a floor plan tutorial be one of those things where it's kind of just hard to do it, but saying that, I do actually have an idea to do a let's build, because I've seen a few people do it recently, and it's something that I wanted to do for a long time, but it's just one of those things again where I'm like, well, you know, people from doing series in the past, people kind of get bored after a few parts. So I'm like, is it really worth it? Because I don't know how useful that's going to be. So I might do like a poll here and there on YouTube and Twitter and stuff just to see what people think. But that is another idea that hopefully I'll do soon. And I won't do a mansion build for it though, because I know that'll be kind of hard to follow along. And I'll try to slow myself down as I actually do the build, so it's a little bit easier to kind of follow along if you want to. So that might be coming up soon. I don't really know when, but it is on my ideas list. So now we're just working a little bit more on the exterior. Just doing little kind of seating areas here and there, and also the big gazebo area, which I did actually go ahead and put a barbecue here with those counters on, and I think I did an outdoor sink as well, because I think that'd be kind of a useful thing to have if you're using that area to eat and cook and stuff. But I always think that those counters there from Perfect Patio and the barbecue, I can never seem to get them to match properly unless it's just solid white or solid black. All the counters and the colour swatches of the barbecue never seem to match right, so I don't know if you've noticed that as well, but I have, and it's a little bit frustrating. So I don't always make like a full outdoor kitchen area like that. So we're just working a little bit more on putting some outdoor lights in here and there. These days I don't do a lot of outdoor lights, I've noticed. I'll do like porch lights, I'll do porch lights, there we go, like that. But I do, what I used to do is do like the little pool lights inside the landscape and like flower beds and stuff. But I stopped doing that for some reason. I've just do them on porches and outdoor areas. But yeah, so you can go ahead and add those in if you want to though, because I think at night time it looks nice sometimes. But you know, the porch lights are there. I also went ahead and put a little bit of ivy on the build. I don't do that too often, or sometimes it just doesn't look right, but today I managed to get it to work, and it's just, you know, sometimes it looks too much, sometimes it just doesn't work with the colour scheme either. I always tend to go for the Jungle Adventure one though, because it has like, you know, the normal sized ones, like the little square shaped ones, and then it also has like the corner pieces as well, so I always tend to go for that Jungle Adventure Ivy set, because it's much better than the other ones, which just have like one shape, which makes it difficult on like corners and stuff. So we're just going around putting a few trees in. For some reason I always do those last, and I always cut them out the video for some reason. I've noticed that recently, so I just went ahead and put them in there. So you could have a look at that. Really not interesting, but you know, just so you can see if you need to. So this is the main living room area here. As you can see, there's that archway going through into that little sort of sunroom, there we go, area at the back there that I was talking about like earlier in the build. But we've got the main living room area here. Now, I really want some new couches and stuff because I'm getting so bored with them. I always tend to find myself using the same ones over and over again. And when I'm like placing them down, I'm like, Thomas, you really need to switch it up because I'm doing the same thing every build. But there just really isn't anything else that I kind of want to use apart from those ones and the seasons ones. There isn't that many, you know, options. Sometimes the cats and dogs ones go nicely as well, but you know, even with all those, that's only like 3 different sofa sets. So I hope we get some new ones soon, because if you missed the latest Max's monthly stream, well, last month's one, they did mention how we're going to be getting a new expansion, game pack and stuff pack in the next 6 months. So that's kind of a lot of things coming within 6 months, and it's already been a little bit of time passed since that announcement, so I'm hoping that we're going to get some sort of news soon, and you know, whatever that pack is, hopefully there'll be some new sets there, like I was mentioning about the living rooms. And yeah, so that was just the study there, as you saw at the front of the house. I really liked how those big glass windows there, and I thought that'd be nice to make the study area with the desk in front of it. So this is another one of the bedrooms here, and I'm going for this stripy pattern wallpaper from base game. I don't use it that often because I feel like it looks very formal, but for some reason I've been using it a little bit more and I actually kind of like how it looks, so I'm using that here. And then I think after this room we've just got one more to work on, which I think might be the master bedroom if I'm not mistaken, which has its own ensuite bathroom as well, which is this one right here. And yeah, so I really hope you enjoyed today's build. In the comment section down below, let me know about what you thought of it. If you have any more suggestions for any other builds or anything else that you want to see next on the channel, that'd be really helpful to hear in the comment section. Make sure to leave a like, share and subscribe if you haven't, and you can go ahead and download this from the gallery. My origin ID is RealThomasTV1. I'm going to go ahead and leave you here with the screenshots in just a second, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!